Black people are anti-Latino. The thing is, one, our support shouldn't be transactional. So even if there are some black people who are anti-Latino, we shouldn't be like, oh damn, I'm not gonna, care about black lives anymore. Two, Latinos be anti-Latino with anti-blackness because there are black people in our community.
As a white person, as a black person, as anyone, how?
My black people, I don't think I got to tell you, but I will remind you. Y'all see what's going on in LA? That's not our fight. We tried to tell them. It's their fight. We had our fight in the 60s. We still fighting today. But today, this is what they voted for. This is what they getting. Don't get.
White African Americans are so angry at the fact that Puerto Ricans are proud of who they are, of their cultural identity. Here's this guy right here saying that Puerto Ricans are supposedly so proud, but we live under the boot of America. Is that true? No, that's actually false. It's a dysphomism in order to discourage us out of feeling pride for our culture. But you know who is living and who remains living under the boot of America? Black Americans. Take into account that in the 1800s, almost 40 or 50 years before slavery was abolished, Republicans founded the American Colonization Society to offer people of African descent to head back to Africa, their motherland, as freed men. The majority.
I just came across this video from Love Jones' page, and I just had to say something. It's like, come on now, bro. Like, black Americans have never had no type of issues with Puerto Ricans ever in life. What black American you know has ever had issues with Puerto Ricans or had any type of issues with Puerto Ricans being proud or anything? Like, you really took that one comment and took that as the opportunity to take a jab at our whole group, and we ain't never had issues at all ever. Like, I understand, like, maybe some people might be feeling some type of way because people been posting stuff like, oh, well, they wasn't feeling the halftime show, they wasn't feeling Bad Bunny. But at the same time, it's like, bro, people, other Americans don't speak Spanish, and I don't even know half of the Spanish speakers didn't even understand what Bad Bunny was saying. And y'all couldn't even understand him. Hell, I speak a little bit of Espanol, and I could recognize some of the. I didn't recognize nothing. I don't know what type of Spanish he was speaking during that halftime performance. I know a lot of times people need to use Black America as a way to go viral, but let's chalk this right now.
Black people are anti-Latino. The thing is, one, our support shouldn't be transactional. So even if there are some black people who are anti-Latino, we shouldn't be like, oh damn, I'm not gonna, care about black lives anymore. Two, Latinos be anti-Latino with anti-blackness because there are black people in our community. There are black Latinos, there are black Mexicans, there are black Salvadorians, there are Haitians, right? Who aren't technically Latino, but I mean, they're Caribbean, so they're on the side of the Dominican Republic, and that's important because I hear of narratives where Dominicans try to separate themselves from Haitians by saying, hey, we may be some black, but we're not really black, and that's problematic. Because the anti-blackness in the Latino community affects how we also treat other communities, such as the Caribbean. It has a spillover effect into countries like Haiti that are seen as much more backwards because it is associated not with the history of politics or economics, but of their shade. And three, Latinos don't have to be around black people to be anti-black. When a Latino tells me that I have bad hair, that I have pelo malo, it's because it's much more Afro texture, or that's what people would say. Some black people would say it's not really, I can't see it. But ultimately, I grew up being socialized to hate my hair because it wasn't considered to be Mexicanish looking or feeling, right? It's much more texture of the rougher side, much more kinky side. And because of that, when I'm told that I have pelo malo, it is a direct punch towards being undesirable hair. And why it's undesirable is because it's much more on the Afro texture. So there doesn't need to be a black person in the room for Latinos to be anti-black. And it doesn't have to be intentional. But the thing is that the most dangerous anti-blackness, I would say, is the one that is playful because the person doesn't actually acknowledge that they're being anti-black. I grew up with my dad saying some very racist things about black people, but then I was confused because there would be like random breakdowns in front of our house, black people, and then he would go help them. There was black people who would call him Papa. So he was really helpful and really, really empathetic and really nice to them in person, but his words didn't match it. Even though his words were seen as much more jokey to him, it has actual consequences, it has actual impacts. And it also played a role in how I saw myself. So when people were telling me that my hair was undesirable, I really internalized that. And it was really difficult because no matter how much shampoo, how much hair product you put, no matter how much you cut it, it's still gonna grow back as the same fucking hair. It's never gonna be good enough to be Mexican hair, right? But that's because there doesn't need to be a black person inside for Latinos to be anti-black, and that anti-blackness affects us, even those of us who don't even have the black experience, as in, I'm not black, but ultimately the traits that can be linked to it are made so that I feel insufficient to be Latino, to be Mexican, to be part of the community. And that really closes the door on people who should feel safe in the community. And that's why it's important for us to work on anti blackness without feeling it as needing to be transactional.
Why are some black people saying that they're gonna sit this one out? Oh, you got some Hispanics that don't like black people. Nigga, you have black people that don't like black people. You got Hispanics who don't like Hispanics. The real know what I'm saying is true. Hispanics live in the same hoods as us. Hispanics live in the same ghettos as us. Share the same stores, the same county building. To my people who are saying they're gonna sit this one out, have you forgotten that these amazing Hispanic people helped us during slavery? Oh, you didn't know that. You didn't know that runaway slaves fled to Mexico for refuge. You didn't know that? Here's a quote from a book called South to Freedom, one of the most distinctively American events in U.S. history, quote, as in part ignited by the enslaved people who escaped to the South and the laws by which they claimed their freedom in Mexico. Debates over the expansion of slavery widened the rift between the North and the South, fissures that were exacerbated by the enslaved people who sought freedom in Mexico and the quote-unquote ordinary Mexicans who used legal and physical force to protect black slaves and freedom seekers. Do you have the ignorant amongst us? Absolutely. But if you are saying you're going to sit this one out, it's because you're a coward. You're going to sit this one out because you don't love your neighbor as yourself. And you don't love your neighbor as yourself because you don't love yourself.
I hope that all you Hispanics are waking up. You're nothing more than tools to them. You are a buffer for them. That's it. You are a pawn on a chessboard. You're the weakest fucking piece on the chessboard to them. They're using you. These are the same people that were discriminating against their own people. Why the fuck you think they think any more highly of you? All they're using you for, and all these other groups of people for, right? And when we were naturalized citizens and we were recognized in 1870, we tried to go get what was due to us. And they needed to use somebody who was naive enough to think that they were more important than what they really were. So they allowed you guys to come here and fight amongst black people for resources that we deserve. And now they waking your ass up because they getting to a point where they no longer need you. Donald Trump is making excuses to bring more Europeans here. They don't need y'all like that no more. And now that they no longer need y'all as a buffer class, they starting to get rid of the people who ain't supposed to be here. And the crazy thing is, even your own people that got here a little earlier than you did and did everything they were supposed to do, even they on board of getting you the fuck out of here. So I need y'all to understand something. Y'all are nothing more than a buffer class for these Europeans. That's it. And after they get done using you, I'm going to tell you the same thing that Steven told Django. They're going to hit you across the head with that sledgehammer, throw you down the nigga hole, and that is going to be the legacy of all these illegal immigrants. That's going to be your legacy.
I don't quite understand how it is that we don't understand that this is the same thing that is happening in Palestine. And I can only come to the conclusion that for many of us in this country, we have been so indoctrinated against Arabs by our Protestant faith traditions and by government propaganda. So we don't see Arabs and Palestinians as worthy of our support because we believe these ridiculous, hateful, stereotypical imperialist lies. about Arab people. So a lot of us are like, well, they deserve it. A lot of Black people who are Christians, a lot of Black people who are not anti-imperialist, a lot of Black people who have been very indoctrinated by the 9/11 propaganda. You know, all of the Arab nations hate us for our freedoms, and
Yeah.
they're a bunch of barbarians, and look, they attacked us. And people don't see that. They see it in the vacuum of imperialist propaganda. And the imperialist propaganda told them that Arabs did this to us because Islam is an evil, violent religion and they hate us for our freedoms. So we are no less subject to that kind of imperialist, violent, a stereotypical propaganda of the quote unquote enemies of US imperialism than any other group of people. We're probably more susceptible to it. So when I see our people in this country not literally saying, look, what's happening to the Palestinians? Oh, that's too bad, so sad, but Trump. So we have to vote for the person who is facilitating the slaughter of Palestinians because this white man in this country, whose first administration we survived,
Yeah, exactly.
but we have to vote for the person who is facilitating genocide because of the same kind of propaganda of the danger of this other person who will also continue to facilitate this genocide. So I think, Solomon, what we're seeing is when we're paying attention to what is happening to Arabs, to Palestinians, Palestinian Christians, Palestinian Jews, Palestinian Muslims, Zoroastrians, you know, Palestinian Arab people, is quite literally how settler colonialism has always worked.
What's going on? What's going on, y'all? Got a little while before I damn get moving today. Man, I want to make a video, man. I want to explain why Black Americans, or as I would like to say, FBA, have a problem with these damn foreigners, whether they're melanated or not. I'm gonna explain to y'all why we got a problem with them, or why we got a problem with y'all. And it's because you're fake. Yes, you're fake. Nothing about you is real. Nothing about you is honest. Everything about you is sneaky and sneak dissing and condescending and rude and disrespectful and undermining and just plain jealous and just horrible. That's why we have a problem with y'all. That's why. It's really not hard to fucking understand. If people have been on social media these past damn near decade and have been watching y'all videos and the kind of shit y'all say about us, it's pretty evident in why we feel the way we do about y'all. It's pretty evident. Black Americans, FBA, we don't like fake people. We don't. Okay? FBA and Black Americans, we're pretty simple and plain. If we fuck with you, we fuck with you. If we don't, we don't. And we got a pretty much justifiable reason why we don't fuck with you if we don't. We don't sit around you and try to act like we your friend. We don't sit around you and try to act like we on your damn team and we your buddy. We don't do all that shit. If we don't like you and we don't fuck with you, you gonna know about it. But that's not how you foreigners get down. Y'all come around us, okay? Stick up your little nose or whatever. Smack your damn lips or whatever. Make all these goofy ass faces or whatever. Try to say slick shit or try to say slick shit behind our motherfucking backs. Try to get us fired at work. Y'all do the most. Hoes. That's why we don't fuck with y'all. We don't like cowards. We don't like passive aggressiveness. We don't like sneak dissing. We don't like none of that. We like to deal straight forth and direct. Bitch, you don't like me and I don't like you. What the fuck you gonna do about it? That's how we like it. Either we gonna motherfucking fight, bitch, or you gonna stay away from me. That's how Black Americans deal with shit. Or confrontation or dislike or whatever the case may be. Nobody cares about all that little hoe ass shit and how y'all go about it. Okay? We are not the same. We don't think the same. We don't see the world the same. We don't view racism the same. We are just not the same. We don't give a fuck if you got melanin like we do. That don't mean shit. You can be purple blue or you can be light bright and damn near white. We don't give a damn. Okay? I'm tired of you. I'm tired of these motherfuckers making videos about how we look alike. And what the fuck is that supposed to mean? What the fuck is that supposed to account about how the motherfucking how you act, how you view, and how you treat me? It don't mean nothing. I don't give a damn about how my ops look like me. Matter of fact, that make me even more mad that a motherfucker that look like me could be that motherfucking terrible. Yeah, bitch, I said it. All you motherfuckers. Y'all foreign motherfuckers over here saying this shit, talking about something we look alike. That is not a plus. That does not make us feel good. Matter of fact, that makes us upset that a motherfucker that claim they look like us can be just as racist as a white person, have the same views and hatred as a white person, and work against black Americans that's just like a white person. So would y'all quit saying that shit? Because that is not a unifying statement. It doesn't make us feel good. It doesn't bring us together. It doesn't make us garner some motherfucking sympathy or whatever the case may be. No, it doesn't. It pisses us the fuck off. How can this motherfucker look like me but be shit and not nothing like me? In no shape or fashion. So could y'all please stop saying that shit? I know y'all grasping for straws trying to find a unifying goddamn string or a unifying bridge or whatever. Let me tell you, they gone. Them bitches have been burned or thrown in the trash. We don't need none of that shit. We don't. Our ancestors tried that already. They tried to be the goddamn United States of America's teacher principal and shit. Try to get everybody goddamn together and shit. Try to get everybody to motherfucking love one another and treat everybody equal and all that shit. That shit don't work. And we got motherfucking a couple decades worth of motherfucking evidence to prove it. It don't work. So why would us being descendants of those people that made that fatal flaw, why would we continue the tradition? Why would we continue the betrayal? Why would we do that? That is stupid. Illogical.
Hello, brothers and sisters. Now, I really hope you're all doing fine from wherever you're watching me from. Now, from time to time, we've been saying that racism is indeed very expensive. Now, you have to go and do more than you expected just to be a racist. Now, we are seeing a lot of the MAGA supporters are now very, very confused, and they are very sad with the fact that Donald Trump is not deporting black folks. And most of the Latinos who voted for that, now they voted for MAGA. They thought they had the proximity to whiteness. Now, see whatever is happening. Most of them have been deported back to Mexico. They have been deported back to Colombia and most of these countries. Now, they're asking themselves, what did they do wrong? They voted for this man. Why is he turning his back against them? Why is he doing this to them? And they really expected that this was not going to happen to them because they thought they had that melanin, they had that color, which was close to the person they voted for. Now, brothers and sisters, as I've always said, that the US was built on the back of blacks and slavery, that the US, European powers, and as a matter of fact, most or all of these European countries, they were built by slaves. If you want to argue about that, you must go and look at the time when Industrial Revolution took place. Go and look one of the most facilitating factors to Industrial Revolution, and you're going to tell me that it was labor. And where did the labor come from? Africa and some of these other countries like the Caribbeans. And yes, now you must also remember that when these countries achieved glory, when they achieved economic stability, most of them wanted to do away with the slaves. When they had no more farms, when they had no more work for the slaves to do, they started being racist to them. They wanted to kick them out of their countries. Now, the people realized that we no longer need these people here. Other immigrants from other countries who were whites moved to these countries. They had no problem with them. In fact, most of the people moved to these countries and did find the black people in these countries and the slaves in these countries. But later on, they owned the countries and said they needed to get away with these people. Now, this is true to history, unless we are very ignorant of our own history. Now, this has been happening for a very long time. US is not an exception to this. The US has been facing a lot of challenges. And one of the major challenges that it has been facing, it is the racial discrimination of people. Many people in the US have been discriminated just because of their color, not because of ideologies. No, their skin color. It's very crazy, right? Now, this has been happening even to the ballot. Most of the presidential candidates have been coming out with the policies that will favor and maybe stop racism. But indeed, in the long run, this has never stopped. Everyone comes in and says how much they love this black color, how much they associate themselves with them. Then later on, things do not work the same way you might have expected. Now, the Latinos and many other rural Americans went to the ballot to vote for deportations. They expected the immigrants to be deported, and most of them have been believing that the black community is one of the majority of the immigrants in the US. Now, let's be very, very honest with whatever is happening in the US today and whatever is happening across Europe today. Most of the people want to see the black community kicked out, right? But they do not have a clear understanding of the Constitution. The Constitution says you have no legal rights, even if you're the president, to kick out a citizen out of their own country. The black community have been there for long enough. How many years do you need to become a citizen of a country? 400 years? Yes, of course, they have been here for more than 400 years, 200, 300 years. Most of the people who are advocating for the black deportations have been here for less than even 40 years, 100 years, and they now feel more entitled to this country more than the people who have been here for 400 years. If we want to keep and make America great again, you cannot make America great again by fighting others. You cannot make a country great by kicking out the same people who helped build the country. You know, I'll tell you a short story of whatever happened in a country called Uganda in Africa. When a president who was called Didi Amin Dada came to power, you know, and there were a lot of Indians in that country and foreigners, yes. I do understand the fact that majority of the black people were pained with the fact that they were enslaved in their own countries by the white man. They were pained by the fact that their own resources were being used without their own permission. While majority of them were suffering, their own resources were being enjoyed by foreigners. When Idi Amin Dada came and took power, he had promised to make Uganda great, and he had promised to kick out some of the foreigners or all of the foreigners. Now, Ugandans supported this, and majority of the people in Uganda felt like they were going to own so many things that were being owned by the Indians. Remember, it is not the Indians who colonized Uganda. It is the British who colonized Uganda. It is Queen Elizabeth who watched as Uganda was being colonized, as brutality was being taken to Uganda and across Africa. When brutality reigned Africa, the Queen watched, right? And so when he took over power, he took over the mantle in Uganda. You know, he was a general. So he kicked out majority or almost all of the Indians. He kicked out all of the foreigners who owned businesses and who made Uganda the way it was, not the colonizers, the Indians who had come to Uganda to do business with Ugandans. Now, when the Indians moved, they went directly to the US, and some of them went to the Middle East. As we talk today, Those group of Indians who moved to the US are some of the richest Indians alive. And those who moved to the Middle East are one of the richest Indians alive. That explains how Uganda could have been rich. Now, I'm not trying to compare the blacks to Indians, but whatever I'm trying to say, you cannot build a country by simply kicking out everyone, right? We did not kick out the colonizers in Uganda. The Ugandans didn't do that. So he did kick out the people who are doing business and not Ugandan, not colonizers. The same thing happened in most countries in Africa. They feared the colonizers, but they had the powers to kick out the business people who are from the Middle East and the rest of the world. Now, that did not make Uganda great. Actually, Uganda failed. The economy failed in Uganda. He went ahead to print a lot of money, and that made Uganda even worse. You know, he was an army general, so he didn't understand economics and how the country was being run. You know, you can't run a country by the use of a gun and think it is going to be well unless you have so many experts around you to guide and actually advise you on whatever to do. So this is whatever is happening in the US. The US wants to be great by kicking out the people who built the same country. How do you do that? You can't do that. You can't do that in the 21st century. Where do you kick the black folks to go to? These people have been here for the longest. They are the qualified citizens of this country. If you mean blacks are not citizens in the US, then no one should be a citizen in the US. In fact, they have been here for the longest, for long than most of the population of the US today. So it is very sad to see that people were really advocating for the blacks to be kicked out, and a lot of them didn't understand that you can't build a country by simply kicking out everyone and causing mayhem and chaos everywhere. You only build a country on consensus, cohesion, and that's how you build a country. You can't just come and cause divisions, kick out people. Then you say you're going to make your country great. You're going to leave your country in ruins. Today, as we talk, most of the farmers in the US do not have laborers. Most of the farmers in the US are losing their farms and going bankrupt. Why? Because the ice raids have taken place for the longest, and the people who used to work for a cheaper price in the US are no longer there. They have been kicked out. Some of them taken to prisons in El Salvador. Let's be very honest with ourselves and the policies that we vote for and wrote for. If not that, if not so, we are destined for failure. We are destined for ruins. We are not going to make it by simply division, by dividing people, and by running a country through division, and by causing mayhem and kicking out people. Thank you. Have a good day.